Very good afternoon, students. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Am I audible to you? Can you hear me? Students, can you hear me? Very good afternoon, students. In the morning, as Sir has clearly elaborated your syllabus, the core subjects, and today we are going to learn about metaphysical poet, that is George Herbert, and one more play written by Ben Jonson, Volpone. Students, am I audible to you people? Am I audible? George Herbert is a metaphysical poet. What is metaphysical? What do you mean by metaphysical? And who are the people that come under metaphysical school of poetry? The school of metaphysical poetry are the poems which belong to the school are John Donne, George Herbert, Andrew Marvell, Henry Vaughan, and these are the people. And before metaphysical poetry, many poems were written, but that was the poems were not so much of interesting. So they the school in later 16th century. So many people like under the leadership of John Donne, so many poets came out and wrote so many poems, and that about the simplicity of life. And among them are George Herbert as well. George Herbert was born on 3rd of April 1593 at Wales. His poetry is associated with the writings of metaphysical poets, recognized as the foremost British devotional lyricist. Henry Owen says, most glorious saint and seer is George Herbert. And George Herbert is has written many poems, and many poems are about religious. And in 1633, George Herbert's poems were published under the title called The Temple. About the religious poems, Richard says, Herbert speaks to God like one that may really believes in God, whose business in the world is most with God. Heart, heart work and heaven work make up his book. So, most of his poems are about religion. There are two poems prescribed to you. One is Discipline, and one more poem is The Caller, which talks about poets talk with God. He's a religious poet as well. And before I just explain what the poem talks about, he's a priest. Who is a priest? Who is called by God to serve him. He was a priest and he dedicated his life to serve the humanity, to teach the gospel of God. In the first poem, which is prescribed to you, The Caller, there is no violence as such in the poetry of George Herbert like that of Donne, where we can see in the poems of John Donne like Sun Rising and The Flea, and which begins very abruptly, like John Donne's poem For God's sake, hold your tongue, let me love, go and catch the falling star. The above line captures the imagination of the reader, but the poem begins very, very abruptly. But when we compare with George Herbert's poems are everyday minute details were part of his poetry. There is no violence as such. It begins with dedication and ends with envoy. He is very strong in his religious life, as I told you before. He is a priest and who is given a parish. Parish is a small place where lots of people will come to attend the mass. He's a priest. Life of the priest is he is to be in the parish. He cannot enjoy the worldly life. He cannot marry, and he is to be in the church for many days till he is transferred to some other parish. He is very, very dedicated in his life. He has served the Lord for many, many, many years. So, when we look at the first poem entitled The Caller, the poem begins with extremely decisive action. He's fed up of his life. He doesn't want to continue his religious life. I struck the board and cried, no more I will abroad. What shall I ever sigh and pine? My lines and my life are free, free as gold. Because he's caught between his life. He wants to enjoy his freedom. He wants to get married, he wants to have children, he wants to see what the life is outside. But he cannot go out of his parish because he's a priest, because he has to abide by the rules and regulations of the parish. He's fed up, he's angry, he's shouting at God. I struck the board and cried, no more, no more, I will abroad. What shall I ever sigh and pine? My lines and life are free, free as the road. I don't want to, I don't want to just lead this life. I want to just move away from this religious life. I want to give up my priestly life and I want to enjoy my life outside. That's what he says further. Loose as the wind, as large as the store, shall I ever be still sowed? That means life is very straight ahead. I'm bound to the rules and regulations. I'm restricted to live within this parish. I don't want to. It is a dialogue and narrative poem dramatically telling the reader a story about the speaker's anger and annoyance with God. Throughout his poem, he argues why I have to be a priest, why I have to serve you, because, because I cannot enjoy my life. I cannot have children, I cannot have wife, I cannot move around. There is a taboo here. But I want to go away from this life. I want to enjoy. And look at the next paragraph. If he tells, he keeps on arguing with God. Why God has given me such a life? God, forgive me. Just I want to go away from this life. As I raved and grew more fierce and wild, and every word methought I heard one calling child. Look at the end of, because he argues, he wants to give up his life. Look at the ending of the poem. Just one word, child. I replied, my Lord. He thought, because he did not hear any voice, I thought I heard a voice, my child. And he replied, my Lord. He has, whatever he has thought in his life, he wants to give up and turn to God to serve the Lord. This is one aspect of the poem. When we look at the different level, the discipline, which is also a religious poem, which is associated with the God as well, it is also an argumentative poem, and he argues with God. God, throw away the rod, throw away the wrath. Oh my God, take the gentle path. He requests God, God, please try to don't punish the people with your rod. Try to win the people with your love. Love can conquer everything. Even Christ was sent to this world in order to win the heart of the people with love. Even God was tempted, even Christ was tempted by evil when he was fasting 40 days and 40 nights. He was tempted by God, but he wanted to win the battle with love. That's why he was sacrificed on the cross and gave up his life to the divinity. That's what he, throughout this poem, he argues, Lord, try to win the people's heart with love. Don't punish them. Throw away the rod, throw away the wrath. Oh my God, take the gentle path. Take the gentle path and try to love the people with your love. Try to win the people with your heart. It's, it's a dramatic poem where Herbert asks God to love rather than punishment with dealing with him. Poet asks to God to throw away the rod, the instrument which is used for punishment. He wishes God to love the people, win the people with his love. Punishment is not mere punishment by God. Maybe try to win with love. And even the poem ends with in a pessimistic tone because he has lots of things to argue with God, but at the end, even when we have seen in the poem the collar, the title itself, the the collar of the cassock of the priest, even here in the discipline as well. Lots of things that happen. He asks God, he argues with God, and finally he moves out of that argument and turns to God. He surrenders himself to God. That's what these two poems are trying to tell us. Lots of religious aspects are there. These are the two poems which have been prescribed to you people. Let us move on to another aspect, that is drama to you. What is a drama? What is the difference between a drama and a novel? Novel is something where we read merely a story. There is no dialogue as such. Drama, we see lots of things that happen. We come across uh, characters talking to themselves. We hear the conversation of many people there. Here, here also one such play prescribed to you, Walpole, written by Ben Jonson. Ben Jonson has written this particular play within 5 weeks. This is called the comedy. Walpole or the Fox is a famous play written by Ben Jonson. The play is a comedy and is often called Ben Jonson's darkest comedy. Darkest comedy because we see lots of comedy occurs in this play. Look at the title, Volpone. Volpone is the center character of the play, where we see lots of people come to talk to him. Volpone or the Fox. This particular play set in Venice. In even in Shakespearean play, we can see the Merchant of Venice or the Othello that begin in Venice. Ben Jonson has selected this place in his play Volpone. Volpone is the rich man. Is the rich man. He has a servant called Moscow, and he doesn't have any family as such. He doesn't have a wife, he doesn't have any children, but he has got lots of wealth. There is a servant named Moscow, Moscow. Moscow. He's a parasite. He makes the other people believe that Volpone is terminally ill and is not going to live many years or many days, and he asks the people to visit him with rich gifts. There are many people come to visit Volpone. The first is Walter, is a lawyer actually. He comes to visit Volpone with golden plate and seeing that Volpone would die soon and all his properties will be given to him. There is no heir for him. So all the properties will be given to him. So I will be the owner of Volpone's things or the property. And he meets Moscow, and Moscow is extremely happy to invite him because he has presented the golden plate. He takes it from Walter and tells him that, yeah, definitely in his will, you will be the heir for all his property. Soon after Walter moves out, there is another person, Corbaccio. Corbaccio is the man who comes to visit Volpone next. Remember, students, Corbaccio is much older than Volpone. He has got a grey beard and looks older to Volpone, and still he wants to possess the properties of Volpone. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to give his life, but he wants to prosper in his life. That's what he has come here with medicine as well as some golden jewelry to present to Volpone. Moscow is very intelligent parasite, and he welcomes Corbaccio. Moscow welcomes Corbaccio to his house and tells him, "Medicine cannot cure Volpone. Please take away whatever medicines you have brought, and please give all the gold what you have brought today to Volpone." He takes only the gold and gives away the medicines which he has brought to Volcane's friend. And Corbaccio has a son named Bonario. Bonario is a young man. And while having the conversation, Moscow tells to Corbaccio, "Corbaccio, why can't you write down all your properties in the name of Volpone? Volpone will be your Volpone's property. Automatically after the death of Volpone, all the properties of Volpone will come back to you. Now at present, you don't give your properties to your son. Give your properties to Volpone. Write down all your documents, all your properties to Volpone. After his death, everything will come back to you." So he has the intention, Moscow has the intention that he wants to grab the properties of Corbaccio as well. Corbaccio is a merchant. He has lots of properties, but he's older, looks older than Volpone. And he convinces and he tells, yeah, definitely. He thinks for a while and just, yeah, after Volpone's death, definitely all, including my property, everything will come to me. So he wants to write down all the will in the name of Volpone, and he leaves the house. And the next person who comes into Volpone's house is Corvino. Corvino is another man who just brings him some diamond and some pearls to Volpone as a gift. And Corvino has a beautiful wife named Celia. When Corvino mentions about his wife, Celia, Volpone falls in love with her because of the beauty. And he wants to use her in sexual way, and he wants to enjoy her, he wants to sleep with her. And the conversation ends there. There, Corvino just moves out of the house, and they, Moscow and Volpone, they plan in such a way to see Celia to win the heart. And he disguises himself as a merchant who sells the oil, and he puts the stage, he put the stage in front of the house of Corvino, and he sells the ointment there because Corvino's wife Celia is she is not supposed to come out of the house. Husband of Celia, that is Corvino, is a strict husband. He doesn't allow her to come out of the house. She is to be in the house 24 into 7. Whatever, even if she wants to come out, only husband can take her out of the house. Only whatever she wants to buy or something, she can buy it through window. So her husband is very very strict, and she's very Celia. She's very beautiful, and she stays there at the window and observes what is happening outside. What is happening outside. In the other way, there, Volpone along with Moscow, they pretend to be sellers there, and they try to sell ointment there. And when Celia observes from the window, and she wants to purchase, and she ties some coins in the towel and puts it down, and he was infatuated, falls in love with Celia, and he wants to enjoy. And meanwhile, Corvino comes there and sends all the people away from the place. They go there, everyone is moved out of the place, and even Volpone and Moscow they go back to their places. Volpone is such a man where he wants to have a rich, he wants to become rich, not by working hard, by cheating the people. That's what in the opening scene of Volpone we have seen. In the opening scene of Volpone, let me read out a few lines there. When the scene opens, good morning to the day, and the next, my gold, open the shrine, that I may see my saint. All the golden, all everything is there in his house. All the gold, everything. His house is filled with gold. He wants to enjoy everything, but by just how? By cheating the others. Good morning to the day, and the next, my gold. Open the shrine that I see my saint. Saint here is gold. He wants to grab everything. He grows rich and rich by cheating other people. Let us move on to the next plot there. What happens further in the story? When he just Volpone and Moscow, when they go back to their houses, they plan in such a way that to bring Celia back to Volpone's house so that Volpone can enjoy some moment with Celia. Moscow goes to Celia's house, that is Corvino's house, and he just has a conversation with Corvino, stating him that my master Volpone is improving a bit, and he wants to enjoy some movement with some virgin, and things, and indirectly he puts the word that he wants to enjoy with your wife. And he convinces, he just tells that, yeah, I can just bring back any people he wishes. And Moscow just tells him that he wants to have some time with your wife. And just he is telling him that maybe after his death, all the properties will come back to you. When you do this thing, definitely you will have some soft corner in the heart of Volpone. Definitely you will become his successor and you will become the owner of all the properties. So he agrees, and finally Celia is told about this thing, and Celia doesn't agree with this. And Moscow just tells and leaves the house. While coming out of the house, he meets another young man that is the son of Corbatio, that is Bonario. Bonario is told by Moscow that your father is not going to give all the properties to you. All your father's properties will be given to Volpone. Volpone will enjoy all the properties of your father. You will not be, you will be inherited. So he gets angry and he wants to fight with his father. And Moscow plans in such a way that to bring the conflict between father and the son. He just Moscow just tells Bonario to come to his house, Volpone's house. When his father comes, he can directly witness what is happening there, where his father is writing all his properties in the name of Volpone. He takes Bonario is taken to Volpone's house. He sees there, he sits there and observes each and everything because he's made to hide behind the curtain there. And he waits, he was expecting, Moscow is expecting Corbaccio to come to the house. There was a bang on the door, and when the door is opened, it is Corvino who comes there to work on his house along with Celia. And Moscow's plan has gone opposite way. When Moscow comes there, and Moscow tells Bonario to go back to the library there, which is just opposite, maybe in the next floor, and read some books which are available there. And next, you can, whenever your father comes, definitely I can call you. And Bonario is sent back to the library. And meanwhile, Celia protests with with her husband Corvino. I want to do this one. I want to have time with Volpone because it is against the religious act. Because remember, according to the Bible, to have some illicit relationship with some other man except husband is a sin. That's what Matthew chapter 10 says. Even if you think about another woman in a different way, that is committing adultery. She doesn't, she is a devoted wife, but husband is very, very strict. He doesn't allow Celia to come out of the house. He wants her to be behind the curtain, and whatever she wants to see, she can see through the curtain, through the window. Where now she doesn't want to do anything. She is protesting, but when Volpone comes there and attempts to just rape her, she screams loudly. The voice can be heard by Bonario, who is there upstairs. He comes down and fights with Volpone and takes Celia out of the house. There, Moscow and Volpone sit there and think in a different way. What if they go to the court? What if something happens to us in the court? All the properties will go. And they wanted to just get rid of this problem. And they go there, even the cases put there on Volpone, about the rape cases put on Volpone. Volpone, his case runs in the Senate there, and there was an argument about um, there is an argument on Volpone, that is attempt to rape. So many people come there. They hear the cases of both Volpone and even Moscow is involved indirectly there, and case is heard there. Here, one more person, the lawyer is Walter. Walter argues in such a way that, my lord, he argues with the judge that Volpone is so sick, even he cannot get up from the bed. How can a sick person try to rape this girl? So many, so many arguments are there. Even Walter, Corvino, and Corbaccio, and are with Moscow and Volpone. So many people come there to argue, and the case is there in the court. The people just argue lots of things that happen, and Moscow and Volpone are worried people because if they lose the case, definitely the properties will be confiscated by the court and it will not be given to them. Bonario, where he argues, and even Celia there, she tells the statement that even Volpone tried to rape her. Meanwhile, the court proceeding is postponed for the next few days, and they come back to the house, and there is a development there. It is heard that Moscow has become the owner of, he has become the heir of Volpone, and all the properties have been given to Volpone. And again, when Walter, that is the lawyer, hears this statement that he is not going to inherit the properties, he's not going to inherit the properties, he becomes angry. He becomes an angry man there, and he just argues against Volpone. And he just tells that whatever I have told you before is wrong, and this is what happened. He tried to rape her, and so and so, so and so. And Corbaccio and Corvino, the people, just tell the court that Walter has gone mad. So much of argument that even the court is confused what to tell them. Even the court is confused what to tell them. Volpone is also confused there, and the next day he comes in a disguised way. He just comes disguised as the other man there with the coat. That, and he tells that Volpone is no more, and the properties have been given to Moscow. People become very jealous because already Walter, Corbaccio, Corvino, they have already given all the properties to all the properties to all the property in the sense all the precious gifts to Volpone. But here three people are cheated. What are the people? Walter is cheated, Corbaccio is cheated, Corvino is cheated. All the people are cheated here. Many things. There is a development that Volpone becomes the center of the country. He becomes the man of greed. He wanted to enjoy the properties of the other people. What has done now? What is done to him? Now his life is a big question mark. So much of development. Along with Moscow, Volpone also commits. Corbaccio, older than Volpone, he wants to become rich, but what happened? Even he is also cheated. The court hears the case again and again, again and again. They cannot come to any conclusion what is happening there. They cannot come to any conclusion what has happened there. Finally, the case goes against Volpone. The court comes to know that Volpone has committed sin. Volpone has committed sin. So much of argument, so much of argument in the court doesn't did not go in favor of Volpone. Volpone failed in the court. Court is supposed to give the judgment. Court is supposed to give the judgment where Volpone has to give all the properties to the hospital and spend the rest of his life in the prison. And he has to die there as a sick person. And what happened to Mosca? Mosca is sent to jail for lifetime. Volpone's wealth to be given to the court, and Benario will take the properties of the father, and his father, the Corbaccio, and he has to go to the monastery. That is the judgment given by the court. And even Corvinus, all the properties will be given to his wife Cilia, and Cilia will go back to her father's house. Volpone, this is how the play ends. Volpone is presented in such a way that people cannot do so much greed. So much of greed should not be there in people. There is a subplot as well. There are many characters. There are few characters. Lady Politics is there. President is there. They come as a comic characters in the play. Let us see how this play is structured. The play is structured in 5 acts. The first act is where we are introduced so many main characters like Mosca, Volpone, and as the later the scene progresses, we were introduced to Walter, Corbaccio, Corvino, and another person is Bonario. Bonario is an young man, as I told you before. And what are the themes? What are the themes of the play? There are many themes here. Greed is the main theme there. Greed for money, lust, greed for money, as I told you before, in the beginning of the play itself, where Volpone just tells Moscow to open the cupboard and tells, "Good morning to the day," and the next, "My gold, open the shrine, and I may see my saint." Look, he observes or he sees saint in his cupboard. Look at the sayings of Volpone. Open the shrine means temple, and see my saint. He considers all his goals, everything is a saint. He wants to enjoy, but that's called greed. Greed can take the people at any level. That's what happened. He is digging the grave for himself. Ultimately, whatever we do, ultimately we have to abide by the rules and regulations of the God. Anyone cannot become rich by cheating the others. One day or the other, you will be punished by God. That's what the Bible also says. That's what all the scriptures say. You cannot cheat. You cannot become rich by cheating other people. One person has done it. Yes, face the consequences of that one at the end. And this is the opening of scene is very, very abrupt. Let us see. When we look into the other scene one, even the court scene is also very, very pathetic there. Even the court is confused. What to do? How to give the judgment. Volpone manipulates in such a way that people should argue like, for him. Even Walter is a lawyer. What is the punishment he has got? He is not given the license. His license is removed. He cannot argue or he cannot practice in any court. That's what is the punishment given by the court. And next, in the court scene, when we see the action of the play takes place in the mainly in two places, Volpone's bed and the Senate House of Venice. Volpone's seduction was discussed in the Senate because I'm concentrating on the Senate scene, on the court scene, because questions may be framed for the examination point of view. Question may be framed on court scene. The action of the play takes place mainly in two places, Walpole's bed and the Senate House. Walpole's seduction was discussed in the Senate. Walter, an advocate and legacy hunter, argues Walpole's case. Mosca, rare indigenous knave, turns the table for his master's favor by making lady politics would be give the false witness. He makes the older people. Even Lady Woodley, who comes there as a comic character there in search of the husband, where Mosca tells him that your husband is has ran away with a whore there. And even when she's brought back to the court or the senate, and she tells that, yeah, I have seen uh, Mosca. Sorry, I have seen this lady there, and she ha- she has done many things there. Volpone hasn't done, and Volpone is very innocent. So that's what happens there. Corbaccio spares his son. Corbaccio spares his son, a bastard, and attempts to murder him. Corvino ensures Walter's charges that Celia has been a close adulteress and ashamedly declares in the court hall that this woman is the whore of the most exercise and most patronage. And even in the court she is declared, even in the court she is declared as the whore. But the reality is very opposite. The reality is very opposite. When we hear these kind of things, when we hear these kind of things, we just think about the people, the reality. Whatever we do today, we will have, even if we are not punished here on this earth, definitely we will be punished somewhere when we go to heaven. That is the punishment that Volpone is going to get. And what are the other things we need to concentrate? We need to concentrate on the ending of Volpone, how the story, how the play Volpone ends. Volpone ends in such a way where the court passes the judgment where the people should be punished because they are not very innocent. They are living their life by betraying the other people, stating that Volpone is a dying man who is not going to live for many days and he is having a terminal illness and he doesn't have anyone to take care of the property. And Moscow asks the other people to come out with luxurious gifts. That's how he becomes richer and richer and richer. And richer. Ultimately, what happens? The scene in Volpone, the Johnson's other place, Volpone is a city known for virtues, fashions, loose models, and for its materialistic pursuit of life. Perhaps a place known for more students of English literature through Shakespearean play Merchant of Venice we can see. Excuse me. In Merchant of Venice we can see Venice also a prominent place is given there. In the opening scene, we can see the play opens in Venice. And what are the things we need to concentrate for the examination point of view? Maybe comment on the title of the play Volpone, and how does Volpone address, what does Volpone address, dear saints? Name the first legacy hunter to visit Volpone. Who is the first man to visit Volpone? That is Walter the lawyer. And what does he bring? He brings a golden plate there. And name the second legacy hunter, and write a comparative study of Corvino and his wife Celia. What kind of man he is, and whether he is a good husband, whether he is the man who can be trusted, and why he is very strict with the wife. So many things you need to concentrate on this. When we look into the other aspects of the play, like the greed, the character sketch of the character portrayal of Bonario and Celia, and are they good people? What kind of things that happen there? What kind of things that happen there? So many developments when we look into the comparative study of Bonario and Celia as well as her husband Corvino, and when we compare the character of Bonario his father his father, what kind of people they are. These are the things we need to concentrate on. When we look into the examination point of view, because already the textbook is given to you, so let's go through very carefully, read each and everything, analyze each and every character, the development of the story from Act 1 to Act 5, and the subplot as well. Try to learn what is happening there. And it is also called the feeble. There is a animal characters there. The fox, cunning fox. That's what the play Volpone is entitled. Also, Volpone or the fox. And another is called as Moscow is called as the parasite, because he is the one who plans everything for Volpone. Volpone doesn't have any intention of, he doesn't have the intention of killing the other people. But Moscow, with the help of Moscow, without Moscow, Volpone would not have done this. He is the one who manipulates in such a way that people should believe that Volpone is going to die soon, that and if I am going to be faithful with him, definitely I will be made his successor, where I can get all his properties. So many people have come there and they have been cheated. And what happened? Final, as you know. Let us move on to the next concept. Each and every act is told to us in such a way that it is neatly explained to us. Introduction of the characters and what kind of people they are. But by this now you can understand who is Moscow, who is Moscow, who is Volpone, what kind of man is Walter, what kind of man is Corbaccio, what kind of man is Parvino, what kind of girl Celia is. By looking at the name itself, we can just write down what we feel like, what we just want intend to tell, what they are intended to tell us. So much of development that Volpone's art is not clean as such of the other people. That's what he tells in the court as well. Walter argues the man who is about to die can rape a girl. This point to be noted. Can a man who is about to die, who is unable to get, that's what he has made the people to believe. He has made the people to believe That's what he has made the people to believe. Can a man who has the illness, who is unable to get up from the bed, they could go? That's what the charge is made. That was the charges made against him. That attempt to rape. He makes the people to believe his words. That's what even Moscow is also a part of his sin. He tells that master is not there at home, he is sleeping, he is having rest, he is unable to get up, and he can die at any moment. You can bring the gifts to him. I will make sure that you will become his successor. All the properties of Paul Pune would be written in his name. That's what he has clearly convinced Corbaccio to write down all the properties in Paul Pune's name. Why? He wants to bring the conflict between the son and the father. Because he knows that Corvino is older to Volpone. He looks very, very old person and looks like he will die before Volpone dies. He doesn't want to he doesn't want to miss the opportunity. He wants to make sure that even Corvino's property should come back to Volpone. And it tells him that when Volpone is no more, including your property and Volpone's property, you will get it back. He's also part of this. He is committing sin after the other. Let us see. Next. He pretends sickness becomes the metaphor of spiritual and moral decline. He just pretends to be sick. That becomes the metaphor of spiritual and moral decline. Johnson shows three deformed characters in the play. There is Nano, Castron, and Antigon. Those are the comic characters that come. There are other characters, the major characters as we have discussed. That where here in Volpone, in Ben Johnson's play, most of he has written many plays. Most of his plays where he has given more importance to his dialogues, more importance to his characters, the way he speaks. He makes the people, he makes the characters to speak in such a way that people can hear. That's what this is a very very famous dialogue of Volpone. Good morning, day. The next, my goal. Open the shine. I see my sail. Even at the end of the play, we can hear his words are echoing in ears of the readers. Even Moscow's words, where he just tells Corvino in order to make him to believe to bring his wife to Walpole's house. You will become richer when you just do this deed. When you do this act, definitely you can become the rich because nobody is there. Nobody is there to take care of his property. Definitely, you will become the real heir or real successor of his family. So, Ben Jonson has given more importance to his characters, and lots of imageries have been used in this play throughout the play. Lots of imageries have been used and distinguishes of crimes and punish. And even he has committed the crime, definitely he will be punished. There is a conclusion as well. Clear conclusion is given at the end of the play, where all the culprits are punished. Not even one character is missed out. Even Celia, the innocent girl, gets the properties of her husband, and she is told to live with her father. And look at when we just go back to this play and when we look at the ending of the play, even that old man, the Bonarius father, he has to live throughout his life. He has to live in the monastery. He cannot come back to the world, come back to the society. And Volpone has to die, has to live in the prison till he dies. Lifelong imprisonment for Moscow. Whatever we do, we get the punishment done right. These are the things I wanted to discuss with you. The characters, how Ben Johnson has put the characters in such a way, the dialogues, and the plot of the story I have told you. And when you just remember these things, you can be able to write down the title, comment on the title of the play, Volpone. And why Volpone? The title is there because the whole story revolves around Volpone. From the beginning till the end, where the punishment is given, the order is given by the court, the whole story revolves around him. That is the only reason why the play is entitled Volpone or the Fox. There are many characters that come with, and what are the roles played by them, and what are the crimes they have committed, what are the sins they have committed, and those are the things you need to concentrate. And why this is called as the darkest comedy also, you can write down, and why it is a comedy. Maybe there is a series of actions that take place in the play, throughout the play. Series of actions that take place throughout the play. But it's a comedy, but at the end, everything ends in a positive way. This is what I wanted to tell you. And any questions you can just send me in the box so that I can answer. When we come back to the class tomorrow, I will be discussing another important play, that is Shakespearean drama, as you like it. I'll be discussing with you. And meanwhile, do you have any questions to ask? You can ask. And students, do you have any questions to ask? You can ask. If you have any questions to ask, you can ask so that I can answer. Since it is an online class, you can put the message there so that I can see. Please remember all these things when you write the answers for your questions there, about the plot, about the characters, the dialogues, how the story ends, and what are the things but that we need to keep it in our mind, and everything we need to take down and keep it in our mind when you write the answers. Any questions, students, you can ask so that I can just tell you the answers. Please keep it in the mind, the plot of the story, the plot of the Volpone, and the opening scene, how the opening scene, and how is the opening scene there, and what are the characters, the role played by each and every one of them, and why it is entitled as this one, and what are the legacy hunters, how do the legacy hunters visit Volpone's house, and what are the characters like, and how do they look like, and how do they try to convince Volpone, and how Volpone tries to convince them. These are the things we need to concentrate on. In the first act, we can see a dialogue there. Yet I glory more in the cunning purchase of my wealth than in the gold possession. Here it tells the chief of the tribe of Volpone is not greed but cunning, pretending pretending that he's sick. Volpone is an impostor and sadist who deserves pleasure at the cost of the pain of the others. Raven, crow, vulture. These are the animal characters that we can find in Volpone. And in Volpone, when we look into different aspects, he's a man of greed as well. He's a man of lust. That's what he has got the punishment in the court of law. Even not even one person is left out. Everyone is punished there. That's what clearly tells us. He doesn't have any wife. That's what in Act 1, Scene 1 tells. I have no wife, no parent, child ally to give my substance, but to whom I make most be my heir. This makes men observe me. This draws new clients daily to my house, women and men of every sex and age, that brings me parents, send me plate, coin, jewels, with the hope that I will, when I die, all the properties will go back to them. So this is how each and every dialogue told by Volpone. Please remember, please go through the entire text, then you will be able to understand the text. Students, do you have any questions to ask us? And we will continue